Hello friends. This is the Ani Fanfics. How are you all? So we are back with an amazing series on what if Naruto was the half-demon half-angel and king of chaos. Here's a summary. Abandoned by his father from a small mistake done to the seal, Naruto, now more older, seeks revenge for the one who abandoned him and lied to his mother. But revenge is never straightforward. Watch as Naruto carves a path straight into the heart of Konoha, striking fear into their hearts, and confronts the father that lied about him. But before we begin, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Now let's begin. October 10th. The night the Kyuubi no Yoko attacked the village hidden in the leaves and laid waste to everything living thing. There were many casualties for the forces of Konoha. Shortly after the whole thing, the Yondaime appeared with his newly born twin children. One looking like her mother, the other like him. Deciding to seal the beast into his children, he split the Kyuubi from its chakra and placed it inside his daughter he named Hitomi and the soul into Naruto, his son. Unfortunately, he made a terrible mistake with the seal matrix for Naruto, and the soul of Kyuubi merged with Naruto. Due to his closed mind, he started to see Naruto as the demon more than his son. Returning with only Hitomi and lying to his wife's face, the two mourned the death of their son. The village was slowly rebuilding itself, and Hitomi was praised for holding the beast soul which she never held back. And now, waking up to a bright morning, Hitomi, now 16 years old, was going into her graduation exam. Feeling all cheerful, she climbed out of bed and got dressed, consisting of black second skin pants, a white collared shirt which was button bound to reveal bust a bit of her developing bust, and some running shoes. Her hair was just like her mother's while she had her father's eyes. Walking down, she saw her family sitting at the table waiting for her. Smiling to her family, which made them smile as well. "Morning," she said as she sat at the table. "Ready for today?" asked Minato as he turned the page of his newspaper. That was when Hitomi noticed the front page of her father's newspaper. It read, "Mysterious monster attacks noble family." It couldn't have been the Uchiha massacre, as that happened way before this paper was published. Her only friend Satsuki and her brother survived. It was a true tragedy. After breakfast, she walked out the estate and went to the academy. Walking along the way, she spotted her other friends, Hinata, Sakura and Kiba. They knew about her secret and were willing to help her master it. That was when they noticed Sasuke, the twin brother of Satsuki. He was a real dick and was always being all broody on everything. His only response he ever gave of his famous HN. They were more acquaintances than friends. As they walked, the one topic that was on everyone's mind surfaced. "Did you hear about the latest murder done by that guy?" asked Hitomi. "Yes, they say he's a powerful assassin with a flea on side order in the bingo book," replied Kiba. "Whoever he is, he can't stand up to an Uchiha like me," said Sasuke, puffing out his chest. "You may be an Uchiha, but you're still too cocky for your own liking," said Satsuki as she slammed her fist into her brother's head. Yes, it was true. The one they called Child of Darkness was the most renowned assassin ever to exist. Bedtime stories were modified to fit him in it as the bad guy. But it never worked, as he was always killing the good guy, leaving children with nightmares of him coming in the dead of night to kill them. No one has ever seen his face. The only people who have are all dead. When the bodies are found, they all share common things apart from how gruesome the murder is. Their tongue, ears and eyes were all ripped out. It was like the old saying, "See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil." No one dared to even speak his name. It was now at that point. Unknown to them, a certain white-haired boy was watching them. His red-slitted eyes watched with great interest as he watched his sister go about her day without even knowing she had a brother. Yes, this person was Naruto. He would have gone by the name Naruto Uzumaki if he wanted to, but then again, they would think he was joking around. No one knew the truth. But he did. After Minato abandoned him, making his parents think he was dead, little Naruto was raised by demonic foxes due to them being drawn by his fox-like appearance. It wasn't his fault that he became a Hanyu, right? While he lived with the foxes, his hair turned snow white and his eyes went from crystal blue to demonic red. He trained like mad, building up high strength as a Hanyu. That was when he awoke his Hanyu side. When he awoke it, a tattoo appeared on his left hand. On the top of his hand was what looked like an eye in a triangle with multiple line-like cracks moving up his arm, stopping at his elbow. Shortly after that, he was approached by three of the most powerful beings in all existence. The three each gave him a piece of their power, making him their avatar. The three people that visited him was Kami herself, the Shinigami and the Outsider. The Outsider gave him the power to bend forces to his will, abilities like blink and dark vision. The Shinigami gave Naruto the power he used to use, known as the nightbringer. And Kami gave him the power to resurrect an undead race of powerful beings known as the Necrons. As well, she gave him the ability to have space-time travel powers, making interdimensional travel possible. After they gave him the powers, they told him that it was now a bloodline and could be passed down to his children. So far he didn't have anyone yet, as they were too afraid of him, but there was one who loved him. Walking into a parlor that had strippers in it, Naruto walked up to the bar. His clothing consisted of black pants with black shoes. White collared shirt with a black trench coat over the shirt. On the end of the sleeves were what looked like white crosses, and think Justin's crosses on his jacket from Soul Eater. Around his neck was a gold chain necklace which had a pendant on it. The pendant was a gold kanji word for death. He also had a mask, but he hid it through a seal on the side of his face. He also had a choker-like collar around his neck with a weird symbol on the buckle. Some found it weird with him having that around his neck, but he loved it. The usual? Asked the bartender. Nodding his head, the bartender slid him a glass of whiskey and a new mission. Unraveling the scroll, Naruto saw it was a mission to assassinate a person who was a high-ranking dictator. Turned out the village he was threatening was putting their loved ones into the gas mines which killed them in a few days. This mission came from a woman who just recently lost her lover. These missions paid very well. Being the most strongest in his line of work, the jobs were very good. Getting paid 140,000 Ryo every successful assassination. Paying for the drink, he walked out and blinked to the trees where he began to run across to his new target. The only reason why he became an assassin was number 1, hone in on his powers as both the avatar of the 3 and his Hanyu powers. And number 2, he needed enough blood to awaken the Necrons. So here he was, once again hunting for his new prey. The mission was a success. Naruto was currently running from the rooftops while being chased by 3 platoons of jounin. His masked face had glowing red eyes that were glazed with malice as he gazed back at them. His mask was the one of the things he prized, but this mask only took second place. It was made of a black material with lenses to zoom in on his targets. With a white skull painted on the front. Why was he running away? Oh, he is running because he killed the high-ranked official like the message stated, and while he was doing that, he got caught. He didn't get caught by accident. He did it on purpose. He enjoyed the feel of being chased. The excitement it brought him. The sheer feeling sent chills down his spine. He was ranked the top SSS criminal in the bingo book. His exploits were legendary. Pulling out a pistol which was a full barrel color he named Raven, he pulled the trigger and sent the bullet into one of the jounin's head. This one weapon wasn't his main weapons, oh no. Too loud for him. He only used this weapon when he was being chased. His main weapon were 2 flick knives hidden in his sleeves. And think Assassin's Creed knives in the sleeves. Sending 2 more bullets into a few more jounin, Naruto blinked out the village and was now nowhere to be seen. Stopping in their tracks, the jounin knew that they had failed, their leader was now dead, and now that stupid bitch Xian will take the throne. Yes, Xian from Demon Country was dethroned, and she was the one who requested the aid of the Child of Darkness. Running back to the rendezvous point the person sent in the letter, he stopped by a tree and dropped to one knee. Mission has been completed. The throne now belongs to you. Said Naruto as his glowing eyes died down to a mere dim. Good work. Came Xian's voice from behind the tree. Your pay will be delivered to you by tomorrow. As per you requested. Said Naruto as he got up and blinked away. Xian stood behind the tree clearly shaken by the person she hired. This person was vicious from what her guard had told her, but she never expected him to be so ruthless. He was definitely like a demon. Releasing a sigh of relief, she would help turn the demon country into a good place. Maybe even hire the Child of Darkness as a personal assassin to be her right hand. Of course he would get a place to stay, but there was one thing. What did he look like under the mask? She knew the need to hide one's face, but when out in the open she heard only a select few are able to utter his name without facing the end of his blade. But the family. The Namika's family were eating in peace when they felt a shiver run up their spines, thinking it was nothing they carried on eating. But that was disturbed when a kunai with a note attached to it was embedded in the table. Pulling the note off the kunai, Minato's eyes widened in horror at what he saw. What's wrong, Tusan? Asked Hitomi. It's nothing, go get ready for bed. Said Minato. When their daughter left, Kushina was shown the letter. She too became shocked at what she saw. The note read in big letters, I'm coming home. The abandoned son. Who is this abandoned son? Minato-kun, you know I'd never cheat on you. Said Kushina. I never said you would. Said Minato. Would you? Asked Kushina. Never. Replied Minato. That left a massive question in the air. Who was the abandoned son? Who was he? What would he look like? Either way they would find out soon. Tomorrow, Minato will sign Hitomi and her team a C-rank mission. It would be her first. And hopefully not the last. But Naruto. Naruto walked into his home, which was a very nice cozy 2-story house, complete with little lights lighting up the garden path leading up the walkway to the door. Despite being the all-powerful person gaining the power of 3 gods and most likely being the embodiment of immortality, he had a very big weakness. And that was the person living inside his house. The person was also the first person that held his heart and was the one that held first place in his prized possessions. Activating his mask and turning his eyes from red slits to just being red, he walked into his house. Opening the door to his house, he was greeted with his face being shoved into two large breasts with a very happy-sounding wife. Upon pulling his head out from her generous bosom, Naruto looked at his beautiful cyan-haired wife. Esdeath was her name. And she loved every bit of Naruto ever since he stole her heart away. Hey, flashback. Naruto was practicing his dimensional travel ability and somehow opened a portal to a distant land he had never seen before. Walking through the portal, Naruto found himself in the world of Akame Georgia Kill. And some person had just enlisted him in a tournament. Deciding to roll with it, he took part in the tournament. Winning against his opponent very easily, Naruto gave a very satisfied look on his face, which won the heart of Esdeath, who watched with great interest. When he made that smile, she instantly fell in love with him. After she walked to the arena floor, she slammed the collar around his neck and dragged him off to her room. Once they were in the bedroom, Naruto and her got to know each other very well. Learning of her past and her learning of his, she agreed to leave her world to be with him in his, but not after having a heated session of passionate sex. After that, Naruto opened a portal to his world. He showed her everything that the little unnamed village had to offer, also that he was abandoned by his father and was planning on revenge. He also told her about the 3 abilities he had and that they could be passed down to their children. Even that the village held a sleeping undead race of sentient machines called Necrons under their feet. She confessed to always love him after a few months of dating, which caused Naruto to drop down on one knee and pull out a gold ring with a beautiful ruby as the gem. Naruto told her that he'd love to keep the collar around his neck, making her feel so hot under the collar. She never knew Naruto had this side. He was the perfect match for her. A little after that, the two were married and were already expecting a child. Naruto couldn't be more happy. He had a wife, a good life which paid the bills. Also, when Naruto told her about him being an assassin, she replied that with a kiss on his lips and said that she didn't care at all. This only resulted in the two making out more. Then flashback. "Hello my love," said Naruto as he smiled to his wife. She wore a blue nightgown that really brought out her eyes. It was also hard for Naruto to not look at her. She must have been a goddess when she was bored with that figure on her. He heard many of the villagers that looked at her with lust, but he laughed when she told him that she turned them all down. Gazing into her beautiful blue eyes, Naruto received a kiss from her as she closed the door. "Welcome home, dear," said Esdeath as Naruto sat down with her on the couch, resting her head on his shoulder with their pet fox. They named Kurama. Jump onto the couch. Slinging an arm around her, he pulled her closer to him. Enjoying the lovely heartbeat he had, Esdeath soon fell into a blissful sleep while Naruto smiled at her. He picked her up bridal style and walked up the stairs to their bedroom. Setting her down and then running his hands along her stomach, which was slowly growing with their child. Kurama soon came into the room and curled up at the foot of the bed. Naruto felt happy. It was never like this when he grew up. When he lived with the foxes, he had to hunt to stay alive. Kill or be killed, they taught him. They also taught him how to fight and look for opportunities in an enemy's attacks. In addition, he was also taught to use as little energy as possible while issuing strong attacks. He wanted to have his child grow up healthy and strong, but he didn't want his child to have the same life he had. That was when he definitely made the ultimate decision. When his child was born, he'd quit being an assassin and focus on living as a normal person. But not before he shows what happens when you mess with a demon. But that thought in mind, Naruto stripped down to his boxers and joined his wife in a blissful sleep. He knew that he had riled up his father with the letter he sent. He only wished to hurt his father. Not his mother and sister, even though he never saw them up close. The two snuggled into each other and soon were holding each other like tomorrow would rip them from each other's embrace. As Naruto slept, he couldn't help but think that if he brought in another lover, what would Esdeath think? Waking up to find Esdeath not sleeping next to him, Naruto stretched his tired limbs and got dressed in his usual work clothes. After getting dressed, he walked down the stairs to find his wife there cooking something on the pan. She wore the clothing she bought from Naruto's money from his assassination missions. She was currently wearing a purple dress that came to her knees and was cut along the sides to allow more movement under a wide apron. Her hair was pulled back in a plait and she was humming their wedding song as she cooked. The song she hummed was "Ashes Remain Right Here." The song was so beautiful. It will always be hers and Naruto's favorite song. Turning around, she came to the side of her husband standing in the door looking at her. Giving her husband a smile, she went back to cooking. That was when she felt two big strong arms wrap around her waist. "Morning, Esdeath-chan," said Naruto as he kissed her neck, which had the mate mark. The mark was that of a moon with the shadow of a wolf howling to the moon on the surface, which was surrounded by 6 tails going in a circle. When they had sex the second time, Naruto couldn't suppress his demonic urges and he clamped down on her neck, forever bounding her to him. When he told her of what he did, she came out the news that she was pregnant and will never leave Naruto. This made the two very happy. Happy for Naruto because Esdeath was not scared of being bound to him, and Esdeath was happy because she would now have the means to finally say that she's connected to her husband. "Morning, love," replied Esdeath. Releasing his grip on her, Naruto sat at the table and waited for his wife to finish breakfast. That was when a white flash blinded him and her. When it disappeared, there was Kami in all her glory. She was dressed in a white kimono, which gave zero imagination to the eye. She was very beautiful. Her snow-white hair was long that reached her knees. On her forehead was a crescent moon, and her eyes were a beautiful blue. Her skin was porcelain cream. "Aka-san, what brings you here?" asked Naruto. "Just seeing how my son was doing." "Why else?" asked Kami as she sat at the table. When Naruto was made the avatar of the three gods, there was a small problem with the power of interdimensional travel. Naruto couldn't access it, and when he would, it would leave him severely injured. After much talk with him, Kami decided to make him her son. That way he would become compatible with the power. After forming a blood contract with her, Naruto grew wings, with eyes would go full blue, and a crescent moon would appear on his forehead. This made him see Kami as his mother, seeing that he now had cut all ties with his biological family. So now he was a Hanyu, but the part that was human was now made of godly power. Making him a Nephilim, a being housing both demon and angel. A being of ultimate stature. "Morning, Kami-san. How are you today?" asked Esdeath as she walked in with the food. "No need to be formal with me, daughter-in-law. I was just wanting to see how my son, you and your child were doing," said Kami. "Thanks, Ka-san. But I know why you've come. You've decided when it is time for me to awaken the Necrons," replied Naruto as he cut his egg and scooped up some toast and shoved it in his mouth. "Soon. All you need is one more soul and then you'll have enough to awaken them. I wish you luck. You are after all their god and their lord," said Kami. "I understand that. But why was it that I had to collect souls?" asked Naruto now with his mouth cleared of food. The reason was to put enough power into their weapons. The Necrons run on two things. Their ancient technology and the souls of their prey," replied Kami. "The second thing is not true. I just added it in to make them more badass." "I see. So just a few more souls," said Esdeath as she was shown the crypts which housed the sleeping Necrons. "That's right. Just a few more. Once it is done, you can bring them back to life. The mission that will be arriving soon will suffice," said Kami as she vanished. "I really like her," said Esdeath as she couldn't get over the fact that she'd have a god as her mother-in-law. "Well, you don't know her more than I do," said Naruto as he went back to eating. Deciding to talk about something else, Esdeath came to an idea. Surprisingly, she would never have suspected what Naruto would say to the idea. "Hey Naruto-chan," said Esdeath, making Naruto stop what he was doing, swallow the food in his mouth and give her his utmost attention. "Yes?" asked Naruto. "There is a subject I want to ask you about," said Esdeath looking shy about it. "What is it?" asked Naruto. "I do love you and I know you return my feelings. But I think it's time to add a new lover for you," said Esdeath, making Naruto's mouth hang open. "What? You want me to have an affair with another woman?" asked Naruto. "No, it's not like that. The woman and I will also live together. We'll just be sharing you," said Esdeath, making Naruto think this over. After a few minutes of thinking, Naruto agreed to it. He would go to other dimensions and find a woman there to bring back. Esdeath didn't care what the girl looked like as long as she loved Naruto. As they finished breakfast, there was a knock on the door. Opening the door, Naruto saw it was a courier with a scroll in his hand. "Morning Naruto Dono, Esdeath Dono," he said. "Morning," replied the two. "A new mission has been given to you. I think this one will be a fun one," said the courier as he handed the scroll to Naruto. Leaving the two to read the scroll, Naruto and Esdeath nearly had a heart attack. Mission read as follows. Mission type: Assassination. Target: Gato and the Demon Brothers. Reasons for assassination: oppressing a country and milking it dry. Client: unknown origin. Brandivus point after assassination: outside an old house. Total amount for successful assassination: 140,000,000 Ryo. Other information: people who get in the way are expendable. Fuck my life, was all Naruto could say. Never had a single assassination mission came to this much. Sure, he would get 140,000 Ryo, but not something like this. These people must be really desperate. "Esdeath-chan," said Naruto, but she put a finger on his lips. "Don't worry about me. Go, do your job. Bring home the last soul," said Esdeath. "I'll see you soon, my love," said Naruto as he gave her a kiss before heading out the door. "See you," called Esdeath as she watched her husband blink onto the roof of another house. Calling up his mask, Naruto sped to wave to end this person. After all, an assassin isn't a mercenary. It's a weapon, and a weapon is only useful in the hands of those who know how to use it. In the Hokage's office, Minato was busy handing out missions to genin squads coming in, and one of them was Team 7. Team 7 consisted of Kakashi Haddock, Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Satsuki Uchiha and Hitomi Uzumaki Namikaze. Bringing in Tora the cat for the 29th time. Giving the cat back to her owner, Minato went on to giving them a new D-rank mission. As well as catching Tora, who had escaped again. "Dusan, can we get a higher mission? I'm tired of these missions. They're so lame," said Hitomi, now seething with anger. "The Genin team must complete 40 D-rank missions to be able to go into a higher mission," said Iruka. "That's quite alright, Iruka. It's now time for them to get their first C-rank mission," said Minato, handing them a new mission. After that, Tazuna walked in and told them what he thought. After evaluating them, they chose to meet up in 30 minutes at the south gate. When Team 7 left, an Anbu shunshined into the office. He wore an Inu mask. "Hokage-sama, I bring bad news," said Inu. "What is it?" asked Minato. "The Child of Darkness has been spotted near our borders. From the looks of it, he's making his way to Wave just like Team 7, said Inu. "This is bad. Tail them. Should he try anything with our little weapon, eliminate him," said Minato. "Of course, sir," said Inu as he vanished. With Team 7. After 30 minutes, they were at the south gate. Ready to go on their very first C-rank mission. As they walked to Wave, Kakashi was busy going on about the reason why the elemental nations were divided and all that other shit. That was when he noticed a puddle when it hadn't rained in days. Just as he was about to pull out a kunai, a powerful wave of demonic energy swooped over them and pushed them onto the floor. When it vanished, standing there in all his glory was Naruto. His eyes ablaze with rage as he pulled out the flick knives in his sleeves. Throwing the one on his right, it embedded into puddle. There was a thin yet strong chain attached to the knife as he tugged at it, bringing the two people who were hiding out from the puddle. Looking at one of them, he ripped his head off like it was made of paper. Pulling out his pistol, he fired a condensed bullet of demonic chakra. The remainder of the puddle exploded with blood and body parts going everywhere. Turning the gun on Team 7, Naruto pulled the hammer back again. That was one issue with Raven. When it fires a powerful condensed bullet of demonic chakra, the hammer has to be pulled back again to prime the gun one more time. Naruto got used to it, as it would always strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. "State your name," said Naruto as he eyed Kakashi. "It is not your right to know who we are. You could never hold up to me," said Sasuke, with Sakura adding her worth into it by praising Sasuke. "Brother, maybe it's not a good idea to piss him off," said Satsuki. Smart one, eh?" said Naruto. Team 7. Hada Kakashi, Ichiha Satsuki and Sasuke. Haruno Sakura and Uzumaki Namikaze Hitomi, said Kakashi. When Naruto heard the word Namikaze, his rage boiled and a spectral figure of the Nightbringer appeared behind him, scaring them to the core. "Namikaze, step forward," said Naruto as he eyed his ex-sister. Hitomi did nothing but shiver at the sheer power he held. "I said step forward," shouted Naruto as he fired a round that whizzed past her, being dangerously close to her ear. Walking slowly on shaky legs, she walked towards the monster in front of her. Fear slowly crushing her will to breathe, her heart caught in her chest, blood racing. "Hitomi Uzumaki Namikaze. Second born of the bastard that you call the Hokage," said Naruto. "How dare you diminish my father's name? And what do you mean second born? I was first to be born and I'm their only child," snarled Hitomi, now accessing Kyuubi's chakra, forming only one tail. "Ooh, scary. Let me show you how outclassed you really are," said Naruto as he transformed into his Hanyu form. He grew 2 black fox ears on his head. His nails grew to about 2 inches long and 5 tails burst out his tailbone. That was when he released a small piece of his power. Immediately Hitomi knew this guy was no pushover. His power was way above hers. It was like she was fighting a god. Well, she technically was. That was when the Anbu hiding in the trees struck. Jumping out incapacitate the intruder. Naruto just stepped aside and pointed Raven at the Anbu's head. "Move and I blow your brains out," said Naruto as he death glared the Anbu. "I'd rather die than to take orders from you, Child of Darkness," said the Anbu. "Suit yourself. Devastation cannon," said Naruto as he pulled the trigger, incinerating the Anbu on the spot. Horrified at the display of power, Kakashi's hand went to his pouch to pull out a kunai. The instant his hand made contact with the weapon, a chakra bullet sped past his wrist that was by his pouch. "Don't even think about it," said Naruto. "Are you here to kill us?" asked Satsuki. "If you get in my way, yes," replied Naruto. "Will you let us go if we take back any hostility towards you?" asked Kakashi as he slowly withdrew his hand from the kunai pouch. "Only if you wish to. I have a mission to do. And right now it is only half finished," said Naruto as he pocketed Raven and blinked away. "Who was he?" asked Sasuke. "The person you don't want to mess with," replied Kakashi, clearly shaken. "And what's his name?" asked Hitomi. "Child of Darkness," replied Tazuna. "How do you know him?" asked Team 7, now baffled. "We asked for his help. We found something in our garden the one day. This was before Gato and his men attacked and enslaved us. 4 days ago, the thing we found started to glow an eerie green. It was like nothing we had ever seen," said Tazuna as he still remembered what the thing looked like. Then I should get that artifact. I am the only one to wield such a powerful thing," said Sasuke with the banshee once again shouting about how Sasuke was great. "Never mind that. We need to get to Wave," said Kakashi, bringing them back to reality. But one thing was on their minds. What did he mean by second-born? For as long as Hitomi knew, her father told her she was first-born, and yet the Child of Darkness stated that she was second-born. After getting to Wave, Hitomi and the others saw the Child of Darkness standing on the roof of Tezuna's house, the wind blowing through his trench coat and the hood pulled down, revealing his snow-white hair for all to bear witness. Blinking away, the group entered the house to see him again walking around the house. He seemed to be looking for something. But what? "Child of Darkness. I thank you for accepting our request," said Tsunami as she stepped in. "I always go to kill. Should I not, then I won't be called an assassin," replied Naruto. Pulling out what looked like the remains of a whale's bone with a strange marking carved on the surface, she handed it to Naruto. "I found this when I was washing clothes by the river. Please take it," she said as Naruto took it. "This is a rune for the outsider. I thought these were gone," said Naruto as he traced the marking. Instantly the rune glowed a midnight black and floated up. After that a man Naruto immediately knew who was in the room. Kakashi and Team 7 were scared shitless by the newcomer in the room. While the Child of Darkness was on his knees before the man. "Child, the man you are to kill has been threatening the country and its people for many years. After so long they have asked for the help of you and these lowly people. Send each of them screaming into the void or let them live will be up to you. But remember, should you choose either paths, I'll watching you. With great interest," said the outsider as he vanished with the rune. "What the hell was that?" asked Satsuki. "A new power. Dark vision," said Naruto as he activated the ability with the void speaking into his mind. He saw everything. He saw people outside, he saw objects of everyday lives, and he saw people's fields of vision. This ability would prove to be very useful. Deactivating it, Sasuke in his infinitely small wisdom walked up to Naruto. "What do you want?" asked Naruto. "Give me it," demanded Sasuke. "Give you what?" asked Naruto, now getting annoyed. "That power, give me it," said Sasuke. "Sorry kid. But if you value your life and the life of your dear sister, I suggest you leave me alone," said Naruto as his eyes glowed more of a brighter red. "Sasuke, I think you should listen to him. This is something you don't want to get into," said Satsuki. "Shut it. He must bow to my every whim," said Sasuke before he was knocked out from a powerful blast of demonic energy. Looking at his left arm to see his clothing slightly charred, he walked up the stairs but stopped at the base of them. "The next time I won't be so lenient," said Naruto as he walked up with Satsuki following him up to thank him for not killing her brother. Stopping at the door he was in, Satsuki went over to try and figure on how to thank him. "Child of Darkness, I thank you for." No. "I thank you for not." "I can hear you, you know," came Naruto's voice from the other side. "Oh, I just wanted to thank you for not killing my idiot brother," said Satsuki. I see. Meet me in the woods at dusk. When I sense you, I'll flare my power so only you can find me," said Naruto. "Okay," said Satsuki as she went downstairs. Inside the room, Naruto looked at his burned shirt and trench coat as he put on a new pair. He had in a scroll he hid in a seal on his chest. "This is happening more frequent. I must fix this," mumbled Naruto as he put his mask back on by swiping his hand over his face. And think of the putting on of the hollow masks in Bleach to get the idea. Walking downstairs he came face to face with Kakashi, who had a worried look on his face. It was like he was seeing death right in front of him. "What do you want?" asked Naruto. "Are you planning to kill one of us?" he asked. "I told you. Should you try get in my way, I'll see you as a threat. And to me, threats must be terminated," said Naruto in a calm tone that promised death. "Food is ready," said Tsunami as she set a pot down. Team 7 and Tazuna with his family ate at the table, while Naruto ate on the couch with his back faced to them. Deciding to ask him, Tsunami mustered up as much courage to ask the Child of Darkness. "Will you sit with us?" she asked as Naruto set down his fork. "Do you really want to see the reason why I hide my face?" asked Naruto. "Not really," she replied. "Then there is your answer," said Naruto as he went back to eating. After eating, Naruto got up and went to get ready for his assassination attempt. Walking out into the woods he waited in a meditative position. After a few minutes, Naruto sensed Satsuki enter his field of awareness. Clearing his power, she found him and she saw him standing with his back turned to her. Jumping into the clearing, she got into a defensive stance. "There is no need for that," said Naruto. "Wait, that voice," was all Satsuki said as she dropped her guard when Naruto turned around to show her his face. Her eyes widened at the man in front of her. The very man who saved her from nearly falling to death at the cliffs where she was training. Flashback. Satsuki, who was 13 at the time, was at the waterfalls by a cliff that led to a major death at the bottom, was training. Little did she know was that she was being watched by the Child of Darkness at the time. Even at the age of 13, the Child of Darkness had become the world's most avoided criminal. Starting when Satsuki was only 9 years old, this man had an A rank level in the bingo book. Now when she was 13, he had a S rank level with a kill or flee on side order. As she trained, she landed wrong and was sent over the edge. Struggling to stop her fall, she chose to accept her fate and fell to her death. That was when she felt two strong arms grab her, and the next thing she knew, she was on the top of the cliff. Looking into the red eyes of a white-haired boy. Asking his name, she found his name to be Naruto Kurumi. Thanking him with a kiss, she went on to ask if he would be interested in dating her. Refusing her request and telling her that he'll come back for her, he left via blink. Then flashback. "I thought I'd never see you again," said Satsuki as she embraced Naruto, which he gladly returned the hug. "I'd always return to you," said Naruto. He then went on to tell her about his life and everything in it. He also told her about Esdeath and her being pregnant with their child. This pissed her off, but that was nullified when Naruto told her that Esdeath was willing to share him. Embracing him with her lips crashing onto his, she made quick work to pull off his shirt and began to run her nimble fingers along his rock-hard abs. "Are you sure about this?" asked Naruto, stopping her hands. "I wanted you ever since you saved me," said Satsuki. "Then keep in mind that once you are mine there will be no going back," said Naruto. "I would never ask it any other way," said Satsuki, and with that they returned to making out. 2 hours later. Zipping up his pants with Satsuki getting back into her clothing, she wished Naruto good luck on his mission and went back to the house where she was bombarded with questions from her team, while Kakashi was baffled beyond compare. "Haka-sensei? Who is the Child of Darkness?" asked Sakura. Pulling out a bingo book, Kakashi turned to page 17 and read out what was written down. What was written down went as followed. Name. Uncount. Alias. Child of Darkness. Age. Uncount. Description. Wears full black with a black choker around his neck with a strange symbol. No one has seen his face and no one would dare challenge him. Said to have sold himself to the devil for revenge. Uses an unknown weapon he calls Raven. Also has 2 flick knives hidden in his sleeves. Rank. SSS. Rules of engagement. Flee on sight. Ask for escape if angered. Never works. Never anger. Reasons. Ruthless assassin to exist. Demon hunter as well. Kills. 140,000 successful assassinations. 10,000,000,000 successful demon kills. Bounty. 500,000,000,000 Ryo. The entire of Team 7 was stunned. This person who was living in the same house as them was so strong. Satsuki was the only one who just felt charmed about the entire thing. This went unnoticed by the others as she read on about the Child of Darkness. Satsuki excused herself from them and went to bed. She felt very happy with herself. She was laid and had her virginity taken by the Child of Darkness. So why wouldn't she feel happy? Also, she knew who he was. She and this Esdeath knew who he was. And she would take such knowledge to her grave. The assassination went well. Thanks to the new power Naruto gained, he saw able to finish the mission quicker. What he found shocked him to the core. After ripping Gato's head clean off, he found the code to his bank account. Of course Naruto took a small portion of it, but there was so much in it for the people to live very comfy lives for many years. But the other thing he found was disturbing. No, it was sickeningly disturbing. He found a secret room. Following down he found a dungeon of some sorts. He covered his mouth as he stepped through. It smelled like crap. Poorly maintained and reeked of death. Walking to one of the cells, he found it full of women lying naked and freezing their asses off. Placing his hand on one of the bars, one of the girls were alerted and crawled to the cell door. "Are you here to kill us or rape us like Gato and his men does to us?" she asked. "I do no sort of thing. I never force myself on a woman," replied Naruto. "We've been here for who knows how long. Each of us have been stolen from our families. Gato says it's for his entertainment. But in truth, once he's broken us in, we're shipped to work as prostitutes at one of his many brothels," replied the girl. "How old are you?" asked Naruto. "I'm currently 17, but the youngest here is 9 years old," she replied. "That's it," said Naruto. Letting his anger get to him, Naruto entered his nightbringer form. Shadows made of corrupted souls swirled around him, groaning as they spiraled into Naruto. Naruto's body began to float up slowly, and once he was 4 meters in the air, he was sent hurling down, his body becoming a pool of blood. From the pool of blood emerged it. The Nightbringer was reborn. A being of the Shinigami's own design. Despite being a separate entity than the Shinigami, he was now reborn. Standing so tall that he had to hunch over to stay inside the mansion-like prison. Stretching his hand out, his scythe burst from the floor and rested in his hand. Without uttering a word of warning, he swung the scythe and the cells opened up like it was nothing. Alarm sirens went off, lighting the place as if it were a festival. Mercs and guards were alerted and came to a stop when one of their comrades was severed from the waist. Looking at who did it, their fears played out in front of them. They were looking into the eyes of the nightbringer. Death itself. Throwing various weapons at the monster, only for them to phase right through him. They tried a frontal assault. One of them ran at the thing, only to vanish into the shadows and never appear on the other side. It was like he was gone forever. For the whole night, they heard the cries and howls of those who were killed. By the time morning came around, Naruto was asleep in a bed with Satsuki lying naked next to him. Moving his right arm that was currently under her to arouse her, he woke her up fully. "Morning," said Naruto. "Morning," she replied as she ran her hand along her neck where a mate mark was now. The mark was different from the one Esdeath had. This one had an angel with two swords crossing over a woman in a protective manner, while the woman was holding a gun pointed downwards. Flashback lemon. It happened when Naruto got back and went to his room. Removing his mask by swiping his hand across his face, he got undressed to find Satsuki laying on the bed in a seductive manner. Her curves and generous still developing bust were the epitome of beauty. Hitomi couldn't hold a candle to her. "Do you want me to leave?" she asked very seductively. "Not a chance in hell," replied Naruto as he stripped down naked. Putting up a soundproof barrier, the two lovers went on for a hot round of passionate sex. Naruto's head was between her legs, licking her lower lips. "Right there," moaned Satsuki as instincts took over, making her place one hand on Naruto's head while the other kneaded her breasts. Naruto's licking became quicker and soon enough, Satsuki's juices sprayed all over his face. Licking up her essence, he climbed onto the bed, kissing her body as he went up, stopping when he was face to face with her and his rock-hard member at her entrance. "Ready?" he asked. "I'd prefer it if you said it in the demon tone." "That's really hot," said Satsuki. "Very well," replied Naruto. "Make love to me," whispered Satsuki into his ear. Not needing to be told twice, Naruto drove 6 inches into her while 2 inches stayed outside. Holding on to her lover, Satsuki moaned in pure bliss as she felt him inside her. Slowly thrusting into Naruto got into a comfortable pace. Satsuki was beyond the clouds. Never had she thought the very top assassin would be able to pleasure her so much. She didn't care about the title of him being an assassin or a demon hunter. He was hers and she was his. Thrusting faster and faster into her, Satsuki reached her climax and asked Naruto to mark her, which he did when his teeth became sharp and clamped down on her neck when he too climaxed. "I love you," said Satsuki now coming down from her high. "I love you too," said Naruto as he unsheathed himself from her and lay next to her. Flashback end. "So when are you going?" asked Satsuki. "Soon, after I've got the item from Tazuna, I'll open a portal to my house and wait to see you again," replied Naruto. Satsuki looked down with a depressed look that her lover would no longer be with her. Her train of thought was disrupted when Naruto gave her a kiss on the lips. "Just away. Never gone," said Naruto as he put a necklace around her neck. It was that of a crystal which was pure black. Beads lined the sides which a silver chain. "This is a gift from me to you. If ever you're in trouble, push chakra into the necklace and I'll be there," said Naruto as he got up and got dressed. "Thank you," she said as she too got dressed. Exiting the bedroom first, Naruto made his way down the stairs to find Sasuke and Team 7 standing there around the table. A green glow emanated from the object on the table. "Sasuke, this thing doesn't belong to you," said Hitomi. "A person like him should never use this when it belongs to an Uchiha. An elite," said Sasuke with Sakura praising his name. Reaching out to grab the object, Sasuke found his hand slightly shredded from just getting close object. "That was a warning. The object never chose you," said Naruto as he walked up to them. "And you can use it?" scoffed Sasuke. "I can," said Naruto as he reached for the object. Green arcs of lightning latched onto his right arm. But they never hurt him as he reached for the item. The item itself was a strange gauntlet with a few Necron hieroglyphs running around it. Once Naruto grabbed it, the thing was now on his arm in the blink of an eye, and his arm was full Necron now. Concentration on his arm, the arm vanished to become his arm again. "Very nice. Looks like my arm is now part Necron. With a few new powers," said Naruto as he vanished from them, leaving behind an envelope with Tazuna's name on it. "What the hell was that?" said Hitomi as she looked at the spot the assassin used to be in. Naruto reappeared through a portal to find his wife sitting on the couch enjoying a nice cup of tea. Removing his mask, he went to her. Sitting next to her, she smiled to him and placed her tea on the table. "How was it?" she asked. "Pretty good. Spoke to the girl who had a crush on me and she has agreed to sharing me with you," said Naruto. "That's good to hear. Regarding the Necrons, I think you should get more women first before you awaken them," said Esdeath. "And may I ask, my goddess?" "Why?" asked Naruto. "I heard from Kami that should the Necrons awaken, they will see me as a threat. Once you've told them about me being your lover, they'll no longer attack. But should you use Phase Walker and come back with another woman, they'll do the same thing," replied Esdeath. "I see and understand. Very well," said Naruto as he stayed with his wife for a little longer, going over on how he used the nightbringer form for the first time and helping the people who were captured by Geto. With Geto gone, the country of Wave was looking good. And so was Naruto as he kissed his wife passionately and gave her a necklace which looked the same as the one he gave Satsuki, but the crystal was purple color instead of black. Wishing him luck, Naruto opened a portal and walked into it. Finding himself in the world of high school DxD, he smirked. "Let's see what I find," said Naruto as he walked off. It had been 2 weeks since Team 7 ran into the Child of Darkness. They could still remember giving the report to the Hokage. Flashback. Walking into the office, Team 7 told about how TH Bridge was finished ahead of schedule. Wondering as to why they finished so early, the Hokage asked. "We had a certain run-in with someone," replied Kakashi. "Who?" asked Minato. "The Child of Darkness," replied Sakura. "That can't be. What about the Anbu I had tailing you?" asked Minato. "Dead. He was shot by him," replied Kakashi. Thinking about what to do with the Child of Darkness, Minato had no choice but to leave him for now, as he had no idea where the demon was. Letting them leave, Minato couldn't help but notice that Satsuki was in a very good mood. Letting it go by thinking it was a girl's thing, he went back to work. "I'll get you, stupid demon. You think that you can outrun me?" said Minato as he slammed the stamp onto a set of documents. Flashback end. Kushina herself couldn't get over the fact that her daughter came face to face with the Child of Darkness. The very person who sold himself for the sake of revenge. She washed the dishes with shaky hands as she placed them in the drying rack. "Ha ha ha. How far are you willing to go?" came a demonic voice from behind her. Kushina immediately spun around, dropping a plate in the process which smashed on the floor. Finding nothing there, she chuckled half-heartedly as she cleaned it up. But she was shaking on the inside. But what she didn't know was that she was being watched. Rolling up a very special cigarette used for him and then lighting it with fire that sprang to life on his index finger, he watched on. Pulling the cigarette in his mouth, he brought out a piece of paper and wrote on it. Attaching it to a kunai, he threw it into the house which embedded onto the wall by Kushina, who dropped the dustpan in fright. Bending over it, she read the letter. It read. "If you value the life of those around you, come alone to training ground 17. Picking up the bits of the broken plate again, she looked around to find no one. Could this just be a joke? No, she felt power that was not of this world just outside. Sighing as she got up on legs that threatened to give way, she placed the plate in the bin and sat on the couch. With Hitomi and her friends. "You had a run-in with the Child of Darkness?" asked Hinata as they sat down at the dango shop. "Yeah, he was like nothing we've ever seen. It was definitely like the bingo book stated. He was someone who sold his soul for vengeance," replied Hitomi. While they were talking, Satsuki was busy humming to herself as she fingered the necklace Naruto gave her. The words that he said still sung in her head. "Boy. Satsuki. Earth to Satsuki," said Tenten as she waved her hand in front of her face. "Huh? What?" said Satsuki as she was brought back to her friends. "You seem to be acting weird. What's with you?" asked Hitomi. "It's nothing. It's just that I'm in a good mood today," said Satsuki as she got up and walked to her family's estate. Despite being the princess of the Uchihas, her heart was stolen. By the Child of Darkness. The mark on her neck with the necklace proved just that he cared for her. As she walked the halls of the once crowded estate, an Anbu appeared and told her the Hokage wished to see her. Deciding to see the idiot who abandoned Naruto, she left with the Anbu. But Naruto blinked in front of his home. Things had changed a lot from the last time he did Phase Walker. For one, the house was more bigger, at least 9 more bedrooms and 4 more bathrooms. The house that used to be a simple 2-story house was now a mansion-type home. Opening the door, his face was shoved into 2 soft melons, with the sound of a very happy woman. Pulling his head out with a gasp of air, Naruto looked into the eyes of the new addition, or new additions to the family. When Naruto did his Phase Walker power, he went to many worlds. The first one he went to was the world of high school DxD, where he went Kuroka, a Nico-type demon who was part of a team calling themselves the Chaos Brigade, agreeing to go with him. She was the first woman to join the harem. She wore a very nice black kimono with a yellow obi, which had very big yellow beads along the straps. She preferred to keep her ears out as well as her tail. She also enjoyed enticing him with her body, which would result in him gaining a nosebleed and pass out. "Glad to see you're home," said Kuroka. "Glad to be home," said Naruto. As he stepped into his house, his reflexes kicked in and he instantly blocked a katana aimed to sever him in half. The katana belonged to one Karasuba. A sekirei which Naruto brought back, along with another sekirei called Kazuhana as well as one called Akitsu. These two would always challenge each other about who Naruto loved more. This brought up major fights and major damage done to the home. Kurasuba was a very petite woman with very good curves, even though she wasn't much to look at in the chest department, she was still very sexy in Naruto's eyes. Her, Akitsu and Kazuhana. Their reflexes are still sharp as ever. Said Kurasuba as she sheathed the blade. Thanks. Replied Naruto as he took off his trench coat and placed it on a peg. In addition, he had also brought back to Fania, a half-elf, half-human girl with a very fiery woman by the name of Kirch. The way he met them was one Naruto would forever remember. Instead of him using Phase Walker, he was summoned to their world. He was to Fania's familiar, but Naruto asked her to not call him that. She agreed and they formed a contract. After learning so much about him and his world, she realized she had summoned a powerful being, a Nephilim. A being of angelic and demonic descent. Even though he was half demon when he was only a few minutes old and then becoming Nephilim a few years later, she still loved him. She and Kirch confessed to love him, resulting in Naruto marking them and then bringing them back to his world. He would have brought Henrietta, Queen of Tristan, but she told him that she had to run the country of her forefathers. Telling her that she could always call for him whenever she needed, Naruto created a special mirror which linked her world to his, all she had to do was speak the words. Demistetros Nekanavera. Which when translated into its proper language meant, reveal the unrevealed. The mirror would activate and the portal will open. Despite the love he gave her, Henrietta chose it to be this way. She loved him as well, yes. But the people wouldn't hear of it. Their queen having a love affair with a monster. So they chose to keep it this way. They had scandals every 2 to 3 nights. As well, he had Masane Namaha along with her adoptive daughter Rihiko. When he opened a portal to their world he found them almost completely killed. Taking the two and nursing them back to health, Naruto told the two about him being what he is and that he knew what Masane was. Telling her that he didn't want to harm her and that he'd rather protect her, she agreed to stay. After a few 2 weeks, she found to actually love him and Rihiko really found him to be a father figure. Even going to the extent of calling him Tu-san. Then there was the strange one. She went by the name of Rise. A ghoul from the world of Tokyo Ghoul. When Naruto traveled to their world, he found her bleeding out under a few beams and columns. Seeing she had a few of her organs gone, he took her to his world. Creating new organs for her using his demonic chakra, he nursed her back to health. After a few days, she came to appreciate the Nephilim. She even told him that she'd cut down on eating humans for his sake. But this didn't stop her from eating. Naruto was fine with her eating human flesh, but he insisted it was the flesh of criminals. She agreed to these conditions and a romantic life was born. But the last one that Naruto had was the true weird cookie. Her name was Emilia from a very strange world called Antisla. When they first met was when Naruto was messing with his powers by opening Atlas 3 portals at once, accidentally out of one came her. Sensing the demonic energy coming off him, she sought to kill him, but his lovers intercepted and guarded him. Finding that a copy of her was where Satan went, she thought she'd rather stay where she was as she used up all her power. While she lived with him, she found Naruto to actually care for the people he loved and cared for. She even found him talking to Masane and Rihiko once. What she saw was something she'd never get out of her head. Rihiko asked Naruto to show her his wings again. Thinking that he would have demonic wings, she scoffed at the idea. But she swallowed what she was about to say when 2 pure white wings burst out his back and wrapped around her. Deciding to get to know Naruto and find out what he was, she found out he was once human. He was only human for 19 minutes before he became half demon, then after that the half-human became angelic. Telling her that he'd never hurt those who he loves and those that are innocent, reassured her spirit about him. She even agreed that she'd help him in his quest. It only took 2 weeks for her to develop romantic feelings towards him. She developed such feelings when Naruto saved her from a gang that tried their luck with her. Despite being able to bring up her celestial power, she found an interference in her power. Sitting on the couch with Esdeath on his left, Kuroka on his right, Karasubi, Konoha, Akitsu and Tefania behind him, and Kirch and Imi on the armrests and Masane on his lap with Rihiko sitting on her mother's lap. And Rise on Naruto's other leg. Sighing in relief, Naruto looked at his lovers. They all smiled at him when a blinding light shone through the room. Standing there was his mother, Kami. Aka-san. To what do I owe this visit? Asked Naruto. Just to tell you, Sachi, that the time to awaken the Necrons is now. Once the moon has turned red, you'll be able to awaken them. Said Kami. Thank you. Said Naruto. Kami-sama. Said Imi as she looked at the god in front of her. Yes. Asked Kami. Will my powers ever return to me? She asked. They are already replenished. After all, the person who has been supplying you with celestial power was Naruto. Slowly he was feeding you his power all this time. Replied Kami, shocking her. Anything else? Asked Naruto. Actually yes. The Chunin exams in the Leaf is happening very soon. We'll be showing up on the final round. Do your best, Sachi. Said Kami. I aim to please. Said Naruto. Kami smiled as she vanished into thin air, leaving them to their own devices. We still have some time before night comes. said Esdeath suitably with the girls doing the same, including Emi. Is that a fact? Asked Naruto as he knew exactly where this was going. So why don't you show us the power a Nephilim possesses? Said Kirch as she ran her hands along Naruto's back, getting shivers. Then why don't I show you? Said Naruto challenging them. Best day ever. Said Kazuhana as they vanished and landed on the bed. Later that night, with his lovers and wife satisfied, Naruto left his house and made his way down into the crypts of the sleeping Necrons. The floors were polished black, with green glowing hieroglyphs. Running along the sides of him were a few Necrons, glass cannons in their hands, waiting to be reawakened by their master. Making his way into what looked like an underground cave, Naruto was staring down a very big pyramid of some sorts. Bringing his wings out he flew up to the top. There on the top of the black pyramid was what looked like a strange device. It was made of the same black substance the other machines were made of, but on the top was a hollowed-out shape similar to that of a sphere. Bringing up his first Necron artifact, he conjured the resurrection orb, given to him by Kami. Walking over to it, he felt his demonic power take hold. As well, his nightbringer form was going crazy, it would activate pieces of his body and then leave without ushering any new ordeals. Reaching the contraption, he raised the orb above his head. Necrons that slumber. I bid you to return to smite the world once more. Your master commands it. Said Naruto in his demonic voice as he slammed the orb into the device. Green lightning arced all over the place as the one sleeping facility awoke once more. Green energy leaked from the pyramid, flowing into crevices that were craved out to feed the sleeping soldiers. Buildings made from Necrodermis hummed to life as Builder Sakurb swept around the underground base, constructing buildings and repairing anything that was damaged during their slumber. Turning around, marveling at the very power the beings that he had awakened, Naruto couldn't help but laugh like a madman at what he had gained. He had become the god of a very powerful race. The feeders of life. The eradicators. The slaves of the Khitan. The demons of the stars. The Necron. Nothing will stop Naruto now from gaining his revenge. Nothing. Not his father that abandoned him. Not the most elite forces in the entire of the elemental nations. Not even the Ten Tails itself. This will be the beginning of the end. The apocalypse had arrived. And its vanguard was Naruto, its father. Naruto walked the many caverns of the Necron crypts. Sleeping soldiers were slowly waking from their slumber and assessing the damage that was done to them. Turning down a section, Naruto found himself standing in front of the Necron buildings. Summoning cores, greater summoning cores, generators and energy cores littered and dotted the cavern as Builder Scarab swept across the field, constructing new buildings or improving the condition of the buildings. But there was one building that caught Naruto's attention. It looked to be buried in the ground. Only the top was visible. Looked like energy conduits lined the top as the machine laid asleep. A monolith. Came a dead robotic voice from behind Naruto. Not even being scared from the voice, Naruto spun around and saw a Necron Pariah. The being looked to be a frightening breed. It was revoltingly hideous. A combination of Necrodermis with human flesh. In its hands was a warsud with a glass tube in the side, making it able to fire powerful blasts of the Necron's power. The Pariah. Never thought one would be here. Said Naruto as he looked at the Pariah before him. Thank you. For awakening us. Said the Pariah in his robotic slurred voice. Naruto found this to be the case with the Necron that could speak. They would always pause between words, it was as if they would run out of breath when they ushered words. The time has come for us to end this world. But, those who wish to live with us, remain alive. Said Naruto. Of course, my lord. Said the Pariah as he walked off. Time to pay Kushina a visit. Said Naruto to no one in particular as he blinked to Konoha. With Kushina lying next to her husband who was sawing logs like you can't believe, she got out of bed and got changed in her usual clothes. This person who sent the message said to meet her at training ground 17. And that was where she'd go. She didn't want anyone to get hurt. For someone who could launch a kunai from so far away meant this guy wasn't playing around. Making her way to training ground 17, she saw a shadowed figure standing there. The moonlight illuminating a spotlight on the field as Kushina got into a defensive position while uttering a few words about the person. Child of darkness. She said as she got into a stance. Easy. I'm not here to fight. Said Naruto. Why did you send me the letter? Asked Kushina not backing down from her stance. Your child. Did you have two? Asked Naruto. I did have two children. But one of them died. Said Kushina. That statement made her drop her guard. This person in front of her wasn't planning on killing her. He was planning on getting to know her. Weird. The child of darkness wanting to know about her past life. Minato never asked for this sort of thing. I see. I have some documents here. Take a look. Said Naruto as he took out some documents from his trench coat and threw them to her which she cued. Scanning over the documents, her eyes widened in disbelief. Looking from the assassin then back to the documents, she threw them on the floor. This is bullshit. My son can't be alive still. said Kushina, now getting angry. What was this guy trying to pull? The documents I took have been secured with proper intel. Those documents state that your son is alive, but not who he used to be, said Naruto, now slightly getting annoyed. How is that possible? Minato-kun said that little Naruto was killed during the sealing, said Kushina. I see. Did he bring back the body? Asked Naruto. No, he didn't. It was an explosion that killed him. The Kyuubi's power was too overwhelming for my son, and he exploded, replied Kushina. And where were you when this explosion went off? Asked Naruto. Closing in on my husband's position. I was at least 2 kilometers out, replied Kushina. And did you see any form of explosion? Asked Naruto. No, I didn't, replied Kushina, now clearly baffled. Could her husband have lied to her about Naruto being dead? Did he say he was by Naruto's side when the explosion went off? Asked Naruto. He did, replied Kushina. Then was his clothes charred and burned to a crisp? Asked Naruto, now pressing the plate down with more questions. He was planning on this from the very beginning. Push her. That was what he was after. Make her doubt Minato and see him as the demon he really was. Yes, Naruto was a demon based off his DNA, but it's not about him being a demon. It's what you do that determines you being an angel or a demon. No, replied Kushina. Tell me this. Do you love Minato still? Asked Naruto. Yes, I do, you demon. Something you could never understand, snapped Kushina, getting into her stance again. Vanishing from sight and reappearing behind her, Naruto grabbed her left arm and twisted it to be behind her back, while his other arm held the flick knife at her jugular vein. I suggest you don't call me that, said Naruto as he brought his face close to her neck where Kushina could feel his breath against her skin. I just had come to like you. Don't make me kill such a beautiful flower. Especially one that rivals my wife's, said Naruto as he removed his hand from her hand, replacing it with a spectral arm of the nightbringer, holding her in position. Naruto then went to feel her up, slowly starting at her rear, then making his hand move up her back. All the while he was slowly licking her neck. While he was doing this, Kushina couldn't help but moan as he massaged her body. How was it possible that this person, the child of darkness, pleasured her this much from just touch? Then the thought came into her head. If he was this good with touch, how good was he when it came to being in bed? You like that, don't you, Kushina? Said Naruto as he slowly began to lift up her dress. No. Stop it, said Kushina, breaking out of his hold. You will soon find out I'm telling the truth. As well, you yearn for me. I'll see you soon, said Naruto as he blinked away. Kushina stood there with heavy breaths. That was too close for comfort. If she hadn't stealed Harassel there, she would have done something she'd regret. But what he said, could it be true? Was she really just taking Minato's word over seeing it for yourself? Die cloud her judgment. Was she just acting like a fangirl? No, Minato would never do that. Kushina shook the thoughts out her mind and picked up the documents and threw them into the water. It was a load of hogwash. Minato would always have his interests as the interests as a family. But there was what he said. Could she have just taken Minato's word over going to investigate whether the case was true? Shaking her head again, she decided to go back home. But she didn't know she was being watched. Up in the trees, Naruto watched with great interest. He had achieved a lot in the space of only 10 minutes. The seeds of doubt had finally been planted, and now it was only a matter of time before she would begin to hate Minato like he did. It was time to initiate stage 2 with Kushina. Hitomi was no problem. But Kushina was. He'd have to plan this next stage carefully. That was when it hit him like a ton of bricks. He could enter her dreams using Dreamwalker, the ability he inherited from the outsider. But that thought in mind, Naruto blinked home to see his lovers. With Kushina lying in bed with Minato snuggled up to her, she couldn't help but think about what he said. Do you still love Minato? Those words hit her the most. Of course she loved Minato. But after hearing what he said, just put Minato into a new form of light. Thinking it was just nerves and hormones, she went to sleep. Not knowing that she'll soon do something really horrible in the future. Naruto woke up to find his lovers and wife not with him. Instead he found 2 people who looked like they wanted to rip him to shreds. One was a very beautiful girl with midnight black hair that was very long, red eyes, and with a very serious look on her face. The other was a woman who looked in her early 20s. Her hair was a golden blonde like what his used to be. But hers was very wild and her hand and feet had what passed for beast claws as well. There was a tail swishing behind her. Okay, what did I do now? Asked Naruto as he was not even scared. Are you the one who took Esdeath with you? Asked the blonde. Yeah? Who wants to know? Asked Naruto. You and her are to die. Meet your end, said the one with black hair as she pulled out a very long sword. Shiny, said Naruto as he looked at the sword. Without uttering a single word, the black-haired girl sliced down, severing Naruto from his arm, and then Naruto dropping to the floor like a rock. That's one, said the blonde as they went downstairs. There they saw something that they'd never see. There was Esdeath with several other women busy making food. Turning around and seeing the two assassins standing there, Esdeath didn't even do one simple thing. The only thing she did was help with laying the table. "Esdeath, you'll die by our hand," said the blonde. "Where's my husband? He should be up by now," said Esdeath. "He's dead and I send you to meet him in hell," said the black-haired girl. "Are you sure you killed him?" asked Massane. "I watched her slice through him like butter," said the blonde. "How sure are you?" asked Kirch. As if on K, Naruto came downstairs, clicking his neck and assessing him arm. Nothing looked to be out of the ordinary for him, and he even looked like he was made of $1,000,000. "Damn, never had that in a while," said Naruto as he looked at the two girls who were stunned beyond compare. No one could survive that attack. Let alone heal at a phenomenal rate. "What?" asked Naruto as he looked at the two girls who looked like they saw a ghost. "How are you still alive?" asked the blonde. "Yeah, about that," started Emi as she sat down at the table. With Kushina making breakfast for the family, Kushina couldn't help but think on what the Child of Darkness told her. Was it possible that her son was still alive? If he was, what did he look like? Would he know she was his mother? As if on K, Minato came downstairs. But what she now saw in him was not there in the first place. It was like the man before her was slowly no longer becoming her husband. Just a stranger in the house. "Morning," said Minato. "Morning," said Kushina as she finished the breakfast and laid it on the table. Breakfast was total silence. Kushina had to know. So she summoned up her courage and asked. "Minato-kun, what happened to our other child the night of the sealing?" asked Kushina. "He died, he exploded when I sealed the Kyuubi in him," lied Minato. "Then was there an explosion?" echoed the voice of the Child of Darkness in her mind. Shaking her head and going back to eating, she thought long and hard. Seeing that Minato had business outside the village, she'd go and look in his office. She had to put these doubts to rest. But that thought in mind, she cleaned the plates and made her way to the shower to get ready. "But Naruto, you're immortal," shouted the blonde as she and the black-haired looked on in shock. "Yeah. I became immortal when 3 beings made me their avatar," replied Naruto. He then went on to explain that he was an assassin and demon hunter, skilled in the ways of killing anything and everything. He even told them about the undead army at his disposal. As well that Esdeath was no longer part of the cult she called her own. Now she lived in peace with everyone around her. As well that they were expecting a child. "Forgive us for thinking you were trying to destroy this world," said the blonde. "It's fine, but may I ask your names?" asked Naruto. "My name is Leon, and this is Akame. We followed you into the rift just before it closed," replied the blonde. "I see. Please, you're welcome to stay. There are many rooms on the 2nd floor," said Naruto. The two nodded and went upstairs just as Rise came into the house with some poor human's arm in her hand. Blood plastered her mouth and her clothes like she had too much tomato sauce added to her slap chips. "Who's that?" asked Rise. "Some new guests. And no, they're not food," said Naruto, making Rise pout. With Akame and Leon taking a bedroom with 2 beds in it. Leon flopped down on one of them and got very comfy while Akame looked around the room. "You know, that guy looks to be quite strong. No person has ever survived an attack from that blade," said Leon as she sat up. "It still bothers me. How can he have changed the opinion of Esdeath to the point where she's no longer hostile to us?" Even so, she was rather very happy when Naruto showed up, said Akame. "Just relax. But I must admit one thing. He was very cute," said Leon as she blushed up a storm. As they continued their talk, they spotted a woman who looked to have massacred someone like there was no tomorrow. Bringing up their imperial arms, they charged forward. Launching themselves at the woman, they found they couldn't land a single cut or scratch on her. "Naruto-kun, please come up her," called Rise. Walking up the stairs, Naruto came to the side of seeing Rise, with Leon and Akame holding her down. "Care to explain why you have this thing with you?" asked Leon. "What, your mouth?" snapped Rise. "Easy. This is Rise, one of my lovers. She's a ghoul. I nursed her back to health and now she lives with us. She can't eat human food, so she feeds on people. I told her it was fine, as long as it was criminals," said Naruto. Heading off the ghoul, Leon and Akame carefully eyed the woman as she went into the shower and ran the water. "You live with a flesh-eating monster?" asked Akame. "I do. And I trust her enough to not eat me or my lovers," said Naruto as he walked down. "Weird," said Akame. Sighing as he sat down, Naruto returned to finishing his food made by Esdeath. After he finished his food, Esdeath asked him a question. "Naruto-kun, I know you love us all. But we think you should bring in one more woman," said Esdeath. "Are you sure?" asked Naruto. "Yes. The girls and I have been thinking that with Rai-san here, we outrank her with good intentions. Life is about balance. So we think you should bring one that will help her out," said Karasuba. I see, then I'll do it. For you," said Naruto as he opened a portal and walked through it. Once the portal closed, Emi spoke up. I swear, that ability he does never ceases to scare me. She said. True, but you get used to it. Said Kazuhana as she sat back in her chair. With Kushina. With the house in order, Kushina made her way to the Hokage's office. Thinking it was just a hoax the Child of Darkness was pulling, she went through the documents in the office. Finding nothing, she sighed as she sat down on the chair. Looking down, she found something completely weird. There were a few drag marks on the floor. Getting up and moving the desk, she found a secret compartment. Opening it, she found several documents. Pulling out one labeled Project Hellhound, she found it to be very disturbing. Written on the document were various experiment names and numbers. But the one that caught her eye was her own daughter. Minato was experimenting on their own daughter. Why? Why was he doing this? Quickly stowing the documents back, she left the office and made her way back home. This was big news. And on top of that, the seeds that the Child of Darkness told her were now true. Her husband was not the saint she painted him to be. He was a demon in angel's clothing. She had to see the Child of Darkness again. She had to bury these thoughts in her mind. She had to find a way to stop the worry. With Naruto. Stepping out the portal, Naruto found the place to be very much like a wasteland. Various people were attacking above them, while some robotic figures were speeding to him. Pulling out Raven and letting loose several bullets, he dropped them like they were nothing. You're pretty handy with a gun, aren't you? Came a voice from behind him. The voice sounded like it was a cross between sultry and serious. A very strong combination, hard to find. Turning around, he found it to a girl with black hair tied in two tails on the sides of her head. But one was smaller than the other. Her clothes consisted of black high-heeled combat boots, a burnt orange dress fitting her very generous figure well, and to top it off she had two different eyes, one being a red color, while the other was yellow with clock in it. And might I know your name? Asked Naruto as he hustled Raven. Kurumi, most call me Nightmare. What's yours? She asked. Naruto Kurakami. Replied Naruto. Deciding to help her finish off the droids, he joined the fight. Kurumi found an instant connection with him as he hacked and slashed his way through the forces. It was as if he was a ghost from the way he fought. Maybe she may even find out more about him. To be continued. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next episode.